This is ABS and you're watching the evening news. I am Ifanaya Amafili. And our headlines trending for this evening. Governor Obiano directs government officials to face responsibilities with vigor. Administrative panel on land dispute sitting in Oka warns communities against violating its directives. Children feared killed, others trapped in Lagos building collapse. Wife and child of arrested plotter of attacks in Indonesia die in explosion. And we'll start with the news in details. Governor Willie Obiano of Anambra State has directed members of his administration to face their responsibilities with greater vigor and dedication as the elections is now over. In a memo to Executive Council members, Governor Obiano, whose All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, won 24 out of the 30 seats in the State House of Assembly contest last Saturday, stated that as they were all involved in the electioneering campaign and gave the House of Assembly elections their best support, the time has come for them to work harder for the people of the state who expect so much from government. He explained that the way to reciprocate the people's solidarity is for government officials to always bear in mind the immortal words of Chief Obafemi Awolowo, that the greatest legacy a leader can give to his or her people is to etch the name in the minds and hearts of the people. The governor reminded them that the most immediate challenge before them is to become the first state to pay the new minimum wage once the appropriate bill is signed into law, noting that the new national minimum wage bill will increase the state's monthly bill by 1.4 billion naira. According to Obiano, the amount is quite significant for a state which receives the modest amount monthly from the Federation account, while monthly internally generated stands at 1.4 billion naira, which he noted is not good enough for a state like Anambra, which is now the fourth largest economy in all the 36 states in Nigeria, plus the Federal Capital Territory of Abuja. Governor Obiano revealed that the government has been working on a 50-year strategic plan which will see the state become the Hong Kong of Africa, developed, disciplined, and competitive in both manufacturing and the service industry. The governor urged them not to see people in other parties as their political opponents, but rather to see them as brothers and sisters who are contributing in their ways to the rapid development of our states. The chairman administrative panel of inquiry into the Enugu Upo, Norfia, Abagana, Enugu Agidi, and Ukulu land disputes, Justice Chinyere Anyebogo, retired, says the panel will not hesitate to punish any group or individuals that tries to disrupt the activities of the panel. He gave the warning when the panel resumed hearing on the matter, and our correspondent Chibuzo Okoye reports now.
The warning was as a result of the presentation made by the Surveyor General of the state, Mr. Ifeanyi Ajoku, that Enugu representatives staged a protest and backed out from the mandate given them to ensure that the Surveyor General was not intimidated or molested in the course of performing his duty. Justice Anyebogo equally regretted that the community flouted his initial order to send only 2 representatives to the Surveyor General for assistance. According to him, the panel has summoned all those who represented Enugu in the assignment given to the Surveyor General to appear before it today in Oka by 10 o'clock in the morning. Failure to do so, according to him, will lead to issuance of warrants of arrest.
Anybody, no matter how highly placed, who attempts to subvert the work of this administrative panel will face the wrath of the law.
The State Surveyor General, Mr. Ajoko, had earlier in his submission told the panel that they started their work of miling the already established milestone given to them by the panel on 25th January 2019 using scientific method of geographical positioning system from Marine Onisha through Old Road, but had to stop at mile 16 when the Enugu representatives backed out of the exercise.
Businesses are free, people can now convert. So it's not the issue of, we don't need to fight over this because What is a technical report? Once we submit this report, submit our plan, the parties are free to have them.
A member of the panel, Venerable Ameshu Huosa, also appealed to all representatives not to prevent government functionaries from doing their legitimate duties.
All the communities that are involved in this land dispute have been advised to obey the rules of this panel. Government functionaries should not be molested.
Justice Anambra made it clear that the Surveyor General of the state will recommence the exercise in due course, but warned that the panel will use the powers conferred on it to deal with any group or individual that want to truncate the enormous gains and benefits they have already achieved. He explained that Governor Willie Obiano is committed to seeing to the logical conclusion of the matter. In the same vein, Justice Anambra says the 15th February 2019 Supreme Court judgment between Aba, Ukpo, and Uhulu communities has stopped the panel from going further with the affected communities and directed them to go back and study the judgment and act accordingly to allow peace and unity to reign. Other members of the panel present at the proceedings were Mr. Nwabufo Nwankwo, who is its secretary, as well as the state commander of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Mr. Sule Momodu. In Oka, it's been Chibuzo Koye for ABS News.
The state chairman of the All Progressive Grand Alliance, ABGA, Sir Norbert Obi, has described the victory of the party's candidates in the just concluded State Assembly elections as a vote of confidence in Governor Willie Obiano's administration. Sir Norbert, who was speaking in Oka, said the people made strong statements of their support for the governor and the party at the polls.
In the Anambra and residents of the state to sustain the present high tempo of physical and human infrastructural development across the state and affirmation of people-oriented policies and programs of the governor.
ABGA has been a household word in Anambra State. People still had confidence in us, and that was why they gave us that victory. But we are very, very grateful. Let them expect more dividends of democracy.
Also speaking, the national chairman of Willie Obiano Support Group, Chief Jude Emecheta, said the victory of ABGA candidates is another testimony of strong positive impact Governor Obiano's administration and ABGA as a political party made on the lives of the people and grassroots support the party enjoys across the state. Chief Emecheta noted that with ABGA lawmakers in majority in the State Assembly, temper of good governance will be sustained as there will not be unnecessary distractions and delays in the implementation of government policies and programs, as there is need for the executive and the legislators to work harmoniously while respecting separation of power, and urge the incoming lawmakers to put the collective welfare of the state above every consideration and give the governor the necessary support to achieve his vision. He noted that ABGA's success in the general election has increased its presence in the National Assembly and urged members of the party to work harmoniously to build on the success recorded.
That ABGA came back to clinch 24 seats. I advise the incoming lawmakers to also think along with the governor in areas that the governor has policies. But the governor is the executive arm of government. His business is to prepare policies that will help to make the socio-economic life of Anambra to grow.
In Oka, Paul Ezoke, ABS News.
Similarly, the traditional ruler of Inteje, Igwe Roland Odebo, has applauded in the Anambra for the landslide victory they gave to the All Progressive Grand Alliance ABGA during Saturday's State House of Assembly polls. Our correspondent, Ngozi Oboleri, who sampled opinions of stakeholders over the development, now reports.
Speaking to the ABS at his palace in Inteje, Igwe Odebo said the move by Anambra has shown that they know what they want and can define their fate. He described the victory as a demonstration of their love for what Governor Willie Obiano is doing in the state through provision of road infrastructure, street light projects, and human capital development, among others. Igwe Odebo advised those elected in their various constituencies to see their victories as a call for service and not an opportunity for them to divert public funds into their private pockets.
An affirmation of the good work that the governor of Anambra State has been doing in Anambra State. It shows that people of Anambra State can discern between one of their sons running for a national office and a good governance governor that is doing very well in the state. So I'm very happy, I'm excited. I feel like dancing.
On his part, the national president, Anambra State Association of Town Unions, Chief Alex Onukwe, said that it is only in Anambra State that people can speak loudly with one voice, noting that their unanimous statement is a welcome development.
It was peaceful. It was not necessarily peaceful. The people of Anambra State went out en masse to do this civic duty, and I think it is one thing we have to thank God for. And I'm also thanking the people of Anambra State, for taking it as a duty to go out and vote, and they voted and their votes counted.
Okay. Also, the ABGA Vice Chairman for Anambra North Senatorial District, Chief Chinedu Nnatwanya, who expressed profound gratitude to Anambra for putting their trust in the party, added that ABGA has not and will not disappoint them in terms of efficient delivery.
We are delighted. It shows the acceptability of ABGA in Anambra. I've always known that people of Anambra knows what they want. ABGA is what Anambra people want. They can never forget in a hurry what ABGA has done for the state, the security, the road network. You can go on and on and on.
In Oka, I am Ngozi Obileri for ABS News.
The 20 million Naira Community Choose Your Project initiative of Governor Willie Obiano's administration has been described as a right strategy for grassroots development. The traditional ruler of Umueri, Igwe Sir Bennett Emeka, who made the description while commending Governor Obiano on the commencement of the third phase of the project, said that Governor Obiano's administration is people-oriented and has recorded impressive and good governance in the state. And our staff reporter, Njideka Okoye, completes the story.
Igwe Emeka stated that through the Community Choose Your Project initiative, many communities have recorded tremendous development, noting that Umeri community used the first phase to erect an ultra-modern civic center, which he said has been serving different purposes for the community, while the second phase was used to build skill acquisition center and the community library. The Umeri traditional ruler, who said that it is on record that the community was the first to complete the first and second phases of the project, stated that they are ready for the third phase, which he said will be used to equip the community library and skill acquisition center for training of youths of the community in different skills for self-reliance.
Our ultra-modern civic center is built at Umueri. If you go there, you will know that it is really an ultra-modern civic center. We now use that place to host all our visitors, do ceremonies, all sorts of ceremonies in that place.
On the 24/30 victory of ABGA on the just concluded House of Assembly election in Anambra State, Igwe Emeka stated that the good governance entrenched in the state by the ABGA government led by Governor Obiano is evident in the victory. On his part, the President General of Okozo in the Council area, Chief Uzodimma Echesi, expressed happiness over the commencement of distribution of the third phase of the 20 million Naira Community Choose Your Project initiative of Governor Obiano's administration, saying that the initiative has helped their community in building their health center, and the second phase was used to fence girls' secondary school Ifitokozo, which he said was a very big project for the community, adding that stakeholders in the community will deliberate on which project the community will use the third phase to carry out. Chief HSC commended Governor Obiano for bearing the interest of the people at heart and prayed God to bless him the more.
No, this is not the first one. There is another ongoing project at Ifitokozo Umunda Road currently going on, handled by Pachu Construction Company. We are very happy. My people are very grateful to the government of Anambra State.
Njideka Okoye, ABS News.
Tragedy struck today in Lagos when a three-story building collapsed in the Itafaji area of Lagos Island. A primary school is said to be located on the second floor of the building, with pupils feared killed and others trapped. The building, situated at Masse Street at Adeniji, Adele area of Lagos Island, is said to be about 30 years old. Several children were rescued and have been taken to the Lagos General Hospital, Marina. Many of the occupants of the building, said to be a residential facility with several apartments, are feared to be trapped under the rubble. Officials of the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, as well as security personnel, including the police, Army, and National Security and Civil Defense Force, NSCDC, have continued with rescue operations at the scene. Moving over to the foreign scene, the wife and child of a man arrested for plotting attacks in the Indonesian capital were killed today after the woman detonated explosives during a siege of their home in North Sumatra. The woman blew herself up hours after throwing a homemade bomb that wounded an officer as police tried to search the house in Sibologa district. National Police spokesman Dede Prasetto said. The police officers at the location said 2 explosions were heard and smoke seen at the house before the blast. The woman refused calls from the police and local leaders to surrender. Prasetto said the woman's husband, known as Hussein, was arrested on Tuesday after the interrogation of Rinto Sugiharto, another suspect apprehended in Lampung on Saturday. Uncovered plans for attacks in Jakarta. Both men were members of Jemaah Ansharut Daulah, a network affiliated with the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant ISIL or ISIS group, police said. Moving over to sports, broadcasters have expressed fears over the sale of the television rights for the 2019 African Cup of Nations, saying it may be business as usual. Even though Lagardère, a global sports marketing and entertainment agency offering a full spectrum of consulting services, and its associates, LC2, have seemingly taken a backseat in the televising of the forthcoming AFCON, speculations have been rife over the process. Last week, a tender was issued for an agency to manage the Confederation of Africa's football free-to-air rights in Africa, starting with the AFCON 2019, in a move that signaled an end to Lagardère's hold on this rights. But there are doubts over the sincerity of CAF in the ongoing bidding process for the AFCON 2019 free-to-air rights in Africa. Now, don't forget you can follow our news and programs on ABS from any part of the world simply by logging onto our website, which is www.absradiotv.com, or like us on our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/ABS Radio Television, and follow us on our Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube handles at ABS Radio TV. Before we end the news this evening, we'll go through our highlights for today. Governor Obiano has directed the government officials to face responsibilities with vigor. Administrative panel on land disputes sitting in Oka have warned communities against violating its directives. Children feared killed, others trapped in Lagos building collapse. And on the foreign scene, wife and child of arrested plotter of attacks in Indonesia have died in explosion. And that will wrap up the news this evening. Thanks for being with us. I am Ifunanya Amafili. Do have a pleasant night.